Hello, 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 and we are back. Listen, season 5 for me is everything. Like, truly everything. It has been literally years, and we have finally reunited with the Frolic facilitator ladies and also the global equity strategist. When I tell you a connoisseur of all the things, excellence in all the things, Cici, how are you?
Hey, friend.
Welcome.
Hey,
Welcome.
I'm so excited to be here. I'm good.
Yes.
I'm good. I can't believe it. Go Panthers. FIU in the building.
Hey.
Black FIU in the building. Excited to be here.
Listen, I love it.
Big
Dang.
big
Big
bird.
bird. That really is big bird. Okay, big bird. I love that.
So we're so excited to have you, and I just love the topic of this conversation because it is just when she mentioned you, and I was like, "What are we going to talk?" I was like, "Are we going to talk about something like political or something?" And she was like, "No, girl, she is frolicking now." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
So this episode is called Frolic, sis.
Yeah.
Okay, and I just want to dive right in because I mean, especially just with this introduction, I know you wear so many hats, you do so many different things. Something we like to ask all of our guests because they are so dynamic and they do all the different, they have so many hats that they wear.
Mhm.
Out of all the titles and accolades, who do you say that you are?
I say that I'm the Frolic facilitator. And that's really important because I think the way that we've been socialized to put our value based on our labor and our titles, I could say I'm a global equity strategist. I'm a speaker. Those things aren't who I am. And who I am is someone who values community.
Yeah.
Who I am is someone who loves to play, loves to rest. And I love, more importantly, to facilitate that for other people. So I'm the Frolic facilitator. Rest and play and community. That's who I am. That's what I do. Yeah.
Rest, play, and community.
Yeah. It's
I
not
mean,
individualistic.
That's life. Like that's what
That's
life
what it
is
should
made
be.
of. You know,
That's
like,
what it should be, but that's not what it is.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
design.
Yeah.
By design.
Yeah, for a lot of people. And two,
Yeah.
so frolicking, especially, you didn't mention work in any of those. You said
No.
rest, play, and community.
Yeah.
And so for a lot of people, like, frolicking can totally feel like a fantasy.
Absolutely.
Like a whole
something
fantasy.
that's like far-fetched. It's for everybody else.
Yeah, but not me. And so,
Yeah.
how can, frolicking look, or what does it look like in real life?
Yeah.
Because people be like, well, I still got to work, so what then?
I still got kids. I have all these responsibilities.
Yeah.
Period. For context, and y'all know me, I've had multiple jobs. I've had 2 jobs since I was 15. Let's be very clear. I support people in my family. I'm the responsible one. And I'm by no means not saying that I'm not divorcing ourselves from reality, saying that we don't need to pay no jobs, pay no bills.
Yeah.
We just can be out here doing cartwheels all the time and get paid for it, which I think we should. For me, it's more about how do we change what we think that we deserve and what do we prioritize in our life?
Okay.
And for me, when I say frolicking, and especially what we're building called frolic culture, is how do we prioritize rest and play?
Yeah.
And how do we consider community? And rest and play, depending on who you are, we talked about science earlier, I'm into human design. Depending on who you are, rest looks different, right?
Yeah,
very true.
Sometimes your rest can be, I'm just going to take a nap in the middle of the day. Sometimes your rest could be, you know what, I'm not going to be on social media today. Sometimes your rest can be, I'm going to go outside and put my feet in grass today. Yep. Sometimes your rest is going to be, instead of sitting up at this computer, I'm going to lay down. I'm going to do it in the bed. It can look different. Your play can look different. So I know for some it may feel like a fantasy. It may feel like I can't obtain this because I have so much responsibilities. But I invite us all to consider, what are you prioritizing in your life? Yeah. Have you made space to say, how do I like to rest? How do I need to rest? Mm-hmm. How can I build my day around this? How can I build my week around this? So for example, for me, I have multiple jobs. I'm a consultant, so I have lots and lots of clients that make me work all the time sometimes. And when I look at my day, things that bring me joy, my play, I love to do cartwheels. I know that sounds really? I love that shit.
Really?
I'm
okay.
also a tree. I will do when I put on my little shorts, I'll do one for you later. You know what I'm saying? My cartwheels are pretty good. But there's something about feeling the weight of my body, the wind.
Maybe you can teach me how to do a cartwheel.
It's so easy.
I don't know how to do a cartwheel.
It's so easy.
Really?
But I don't. I was a cheerleader and everything, but
You can do it.
I feel like I could. Like I feel
it.
like I'm pretty athletic, but cartwheels for me were just like I just never been able to do one.
Well, you have to do the leg kick first. You have to do the guide, and then literally, where your leg goes, that's where your hand goes. That's where your head goes.
Yeah.
So
I need you. I would
got
like
you.
that.
We can do
I would
that
like
today.
to learn how to do
I mean, it's a
cartwheel.
beautiful little.
Yeah, we got a backyard.
Yes,
Okay.
we can do some. So I love that. And I do literally a couple of cartwheels a day. And I know that
Oh,
sounds
really?
Yes. And if I know I have a wildly busy day, I'm like, okay, how can I fit this in? How can
Wow, that's the play part.
That's my
for you.
play for me. That's
I
my play.
love
And it is
it.
a little bit of a rest too, because I can't be on my phone. I have to be
No.
in my body.
Mhm.
I'm usually cackling and doing something ridiculous. I put on a little soundtrack. I love a little music. Like it's changing the way that we think about how do you want to build your life. Y'all talk about this all the time.
Ooh, yeah.
Right? My homegirl
Yes.
Amber says you can have whatever you want. We can decide and make decisions to change our
Absolutely.
lives that incorporates Frolic. But a lot of us do it around our booze. They do it around our jobs,
Yeah.
our vanity, whatever.
Yeah.
You can do that around rest and play too.
Yeah, and I think a
Mhm.
lot of it too is this sense of, like, you talked about prioritizing.
Yeah.
The thing is that a lot of times people feel like prioritizing your needs is like there's guilt associated with that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Especially people who are brought up not in frolic culture, but work hard till you die culture.
Grind culture.
Yeah, like
Grind.
workhorse culture. And a lot of times it's like you feel guilty. Like I've been that person that like
Yes.
was taking some time off from work, and there's like a sense
Oh my
of real guilt.
Oh my
like
God.
it's a
Like,
real
oh,
thing.
I
Oh my God.
Like you're like
Oh
on
my
the
God.
on an island, like
Listen.
thinking about like, damn, how many emails am I gonna have? Damn,
Listen.
did this client? Blah, blah, blah.
Absolutely.
Oh, let me just check. Maybe I shouldn't check my email. Oh, maybe it's just gonna pile up. Damn, shouldn't I have take? Like you will literally start to talk
Absolutely.
yourself out of why you don't deserve
Oh my God.
Mhm.
all the frolicking
Oh my
and the
God.
play, and it just seems like if I do this, I'm going to be sacrificing the most important things.
Which is the work.
So
Oh my
how
goodness.
have you not only made honoring your needs a priority, but
Yeah.
transformed it like into a lifestyle? What was the mental shift that took place? Because you just
Yeah.
said like what you do, but what
Oh my gosh.
mentally had to kind of click for you? Because I know for me, it was
Yeah.
like, how I felt just started to matter way more.
Mm.
Like, just like for me, it was just like, I don't like how this makes me feel. And
Yeah.
we're so used to being like, oh, I feel bad. Oh, well, that's life. You're going to
Yeah.
feel bad sometimes, which is still a fact. But it was just like, I've decided that I didn't have to feel that way most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was
Mm.
willing to do whatever I needed to do to stop feeling that way most of the time.
Yeah.
So what do you feel like it was for you? Like, what happened to kind of create this? Because that is a real mental shift that you have to make.
It is. It was a massive shift in my life. And I don't want to scam anybody and make it seem like I'm this like all-knowing, have my shit together black.
Right,
I know,
right.
Listen, I know I look good. Purr.
Damn.
Okay, you
Big
know,
purr.
maybe big purr. You know, my social media might look good, but I just want to name that I'm human just like everyone
Yeah.
else.
Yes.
And I'm also a hard-headed human.
Me too.
Listen, so for me, my life lessons, what we were talking about earlier, it'll be a whisper, it'll be a two-tap, and then I gotta get punched in the face, and I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta do something different, right? So what that thing was for me, there, even before the real catalyst that charged the mindset shift, there were little moments in my life
Yeah.
that were trying to tell me that what I was doing was unsustainable.
Yes.
Oh.
So I've had those moments, whether it be, I was talking about college, context college, y'all. I did a lot in college.
a lot.
A lot.
A lot.
I was everywhere.
Yeah. Serving on all the boards.
She pretty much ran our college.
Yeah.
It was
Like-
Me and Danny, we partied and was.
But she was like the Michelle
Oh my
Obama
God.
of FIU.
Really?
Okay.
People, that is very true. But that was also a shell of myself, though. We can.
Ooh.
So there was, after that, I did all these things.
Mhm.
I left FIU,
Mhm.
went to DC, and I was so sad and so
Oh.
depressed and so many things. I was in a relationship at a time that was trash, all the things.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Then I went straight into grad school.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Did all the things. I was tired. Then I went on a campaign, did all the things.
Mhm.
Then I was like, fuck this shit. I'm moving abroad. I've had so many little
Yeah.
moments of like, this don't feel good. This don't feel good.
That's where it starts.
It really
I feel
does.
like that's like the seed. There's just like your body
Yeah.
starts to tell you.
Yeah,
first.
it's like, hey,
Yes.
I don't like this. This don't work for me.
Yes. And I would say that's been all throughout my life. I'm more conscious of it now.
Yeah.
Because looking back, you can say, oh, that's what that was. But in the moment when you're like in survival mentality, you're working
Yes.
multiple jobs, you
You're
have things
in
to
grind
do.
culture.
You
you are a
don't.
participant.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Listen, I am the cheerleader. bitch.
Yeah.
Grind.
Let's grind.
I used to say I'll sleep when I'm dead. That used to
I
be
used
my
to say that
used to be
too.
my motto.
Now
Like,
I say I'm asleep now.
right now.
I'm asleep now.
Right now. And I'm going to rest more when I'm dead.
Listen.
Amen. You know what I'm saying?
Ashe and amen.
So 2020 for me was the big shift.
Okay.
So context, setting the scene. I was an executive director of a nonprofit in DC that was national. I was on the road 90% of the time. I was engaged at the time. I was doing the most. And I had my business on the side.
What?
Right?
How did you breathe?
I did not breathe. So come 2020, the top of the year, it was like, oh shit, I can't do this relationship anymore. Why? Because the pandemic forced me to see my life without distraction.
Yes.
I couldn't run to nothing. I couldn't jump on a plane. I couldn't go to a homegirl's
That's
house.
what it is.
I couldn't catch a flight. I couldn't do any of that. I couldn't outwork it, go to the office, stay late. You know, when you try to avoid your house, stay at your office.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that.
Spend
And
the block
you
a
can't
couple times.
listen. You can't avoid your house before you're married.
You can't do none of that. So now I'm in a house, and I don't want to say that it's him or me. I'm just saying the situation.
Yeah, just the
for
situation,
me.
Energy,
the timing.
It wasn't in alignment with my highest self.
Yeah, and that's okay.
At all.
It doesn't mean he was bad.
No,
it
not
doesn't
at
mean
all.
you were bad.
It just wasn't aligned for us.
Yeah,
and when I
that's okay.
saw my life without distraction, I knew I needed to move differently. And then when I took a deeper look, my job was not bringing me. It wasn't in alignment. It really wasn't. When I thought about all of the energy that I was giving, it wasn't reciprocated in multiple things in my life. And I'm like, damn, everything around me, I'm giving at the expense of myself.
Ooh.
Everything.
Ooh.
I'm talking about relationships, my job, my platonic relationships. I'm like, what am I doing?
I'm getting chills while you're speaking.
Yeah.
Like
I couldn't do it anymore. I really couldn't. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm leaving this job. I'm leaving whatever. And people are like, well, what's next? Everyone is so used to me
doing
the most and having a 5-point plan with a PowerPoint. You know what I'm saying? With my little clicker. Girl, when I was 21, I had a whole breakdown with my mama. And I was like, I'm a loser. Oh my God, I can't do this. She's like, you didn't graduate. I was like, I don't know. I'm going to fix my life. I made a whole PowerPoint presentation for her about how I was going to fix my life. So I'm not over exaggerating. I am known to have a PowerPoint presentation about my life. And I was like, I'm going to go where my spirit feels led. And people are like, what you doing? I'm like, I'm frolicking. What you doing? I'm frolicking. And what that meant was I was chasing my wholeness. I was chasing my joy. And that was it. I wasn't chasing any accolades. I wasn't chasing any visibility. If it felt good in my spirit, that's what I did. So the change was more having the time and the space to sit with myself, to actually listen to myself.
Yeah.
Because to your point, our body has divine knowing.
Oh, yeah.
And if we actually sit long enough, it'll tell us what to do. But I was disconnected, child. I was not trying to, because sis was saying, sit down. Sis was saying, she ain't like this. Sis was saying, ooh, bitch, you need to go back to Miami. I didn't want to hear none of that. I wanted to be in DC. I'm a political girl. Okay?
That's where you need to be.
That's what I need to be. I need to be seen.
Yes.
Don't you know, like all of this work, I'm valuable.
Yeah.
But then the panoramic showed me, when you don't have shit, who are you?
Oh,
Who are you when no one is watching?
Oh my goodness.
Who are you?
Girl, when I tell you are speaking it
Child.
sounds like you and I had a very similar 2020.
Really?
Yes, because
Tell me, friend.
So I had a business. I had been operating at that point over 8 years. We worked with everybody from Zendaya to Soledad O'Brien to UPS, Verizon. Like, I'm sexy. New York Fashion Week. I am there because I've worked with the fashion. I'm one of the highest paid models in Africa. Not one of. The highest paid model in Africa is my client and my friend.
Ooh.
Became a client and then a friend. So I'm like, I'm full of all the things. You call Alicia when you want it done, when you want the shot. Like, that's what it was. I was so accustomed to giving and doing. I would not accept somebody giving to me, number one. So I'm over here walking around depleted as fuck. I mean, done for.
Listen.
But won't accept.
No.
I won't accept water, but I'm literally in the desert dying. Somebody like, here, bitch, here's a water bottle. I'm like, oh no, I don't need it. Let me go put on this cute ass outfit and go stand and do some more work for somebody else. And it's just like, when 2020 happened, I couldn't fuck it away. I couldn't date it away.
Yeah, none of that.
I couldn't work it away. I literally had to take a look and I was like, I hate this life.
Absolutely.
Not that I want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Like, not that I want to be out of it, but I hate what I had become.
Yeah.
Not me, the person, but the situation that I had allowed my life to be. I take care of everybody. I'm paying for the bills, y'all. Not even the business bills. Was over $20,000 a month. For regular bills.
It's getting what? Okay, it's getting what? That sounds like a lot of stress, girl.
Yeah.
Stress.
I need a drink for that. You need to get
Right. We all need a drink. $20,000 by herself, child, alone.
$20,000.
And that wasn't incorporating the business bills.
Oh,
those were the personal.
What's
up? It was so much intense, immense pressure. I felt like I was imploding, not exploding, because the outside again looks great. Popping like a motherfucker. Like, I'm doing events at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce with like all these. I'm at Google. I'm at IBM. I'm like making money that I never imagined, and I'm just like, but I hate it here. I want to go.
Listen, something I ask my coaching clients all the time. I'm like, who benefits from your brokenness?
Who
benefits? And it usually isn't you.
It's never you.
Who benefits from you overextending yourself?
It's everybody else. It's literally.
You look cute.
You look cute. Right. Literally.
Right.
It looks real good.
It looks good.
Yeah.
And so for me, 2020 was, you know what? I don't do none of this no more. Closed down the business. Told everybody, hey, I'm no longer taking care of things. Y'all figure it out. I was like, what it look like for y'all to take care of me? I literally shut it all down, and I went on a journey of just finding my joy. What it looked like for me to create in joy. I was telling my little brother the other day, I was like, I've never created something that was created in joy and in love. I've always only created out of necessity, out of trauma.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. And for me,
absolutely.
And even though, honestly, if I'm being honest, I like to keep it a buck. Even creating in joy this time, even though it feels good, the pressure on the outside, because I still have responsibilities, is something I'd be like, ooh. Am I gonna have to start selling coochie? Because
absolutely,
OnlyFans, like with these toes or something, like because it's a lot. Like it's woo child, because you're still used to a certain lifestyle.
Yes.
Like let's not get it twisted on that. And so for many people, like they feel as though they have to like wait to tap into those joyful experiences.
Yeah.
I decided, okay, I'm just gonna blow all this shit up. I'm stopping this. I don't want to do this no more. Yeah. And I'm gonna find me some joy.
Yeah.
And figure it out. But for many people, they feel like they have to wait. Like, okay, I gotta wait until I'm on the vacation, or I gotta wait until I make this, or wait until this or that and the third. Yeah. And it's like, how can people start to like incorporate more of those activities into their daily experience that bring them joy?
Like how you talked about you cartwheeling.
Yeah.
You know, like what are some other examples, or maybe what are some other things that you do that it's like, I'm going to tap into this every single day. It's like not about the vacation I'm saving up for in 2 years. Like that, a lot of times it's like we delay, like it's a real sense of like delayed gratification when it comes to our own joy and frolicking.
Absolutely.
We won't delay nothing else though, because we'll spend $1.6 trillion so we delay. We don't delay nothing else but our joy.
But see, this is by design. And I meant to say this is around like, what was that shift for me? It wasn't just like I'm choosing my joy and my wholeness. I spent a lot of time, as you know, and have been in politics for a very long time, but more so my study of understanding systemic oppression. That's really where I'm really fixated on, because a lot of the things that we see now is by design.
Yeah.
One of my favorite,
I don't know what is it.
Oh my God. One of my favorite authors, their name is Adrienne Marie Brown. If you don't know them, you need to go check them out. And she said on a summit that I was doing in 2020, and she said, we're living in someone else's imagination.
Ooh.
We're living in someone else's imagination.
Ooh, child. I just got chills. Look at my face.
It fucked me up. And it made me really like all of the things that I knew about systemic oppression, all the things that I knew about the systems of white supremacy and capitalism and sexism and patriarchy. I knew that. But when I thought about it, I'm like, oh.
It's like you're playing in a video game.
I'm contributing into this every day. I'm in this matrix.
Yeah,
it's simulation. Someone else's design.
Yes.
But what's my imagination? How do I make space to know what feels good for me? And that's the powerful part of chasing your wholeness or rest and play.
Yes.
When you rest.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
When you play, you can dream, you can imagine, you can figure out like where am I? Who am I? What do I like? What don't I like? Right?
Yes.
And when you get to that place, then you can answer the question of what can I do?
Every day.
What can I do every day? Because I can't answer that for you. Our society tells us like we have been socialized to get a 5-point checkpoint plan, right? Do this, do this, do this.
And you'll get this.
I can't give you a toolkit to your wholeness. Only you can do that for you. Only you can find your rest and your play.
Yes.
My rest, like I said, I like to nap.
Oh, me too.
I like a lot of naps.
I love a nap.
I also, because I'm extremely cerebral, I need things that force me into my body. So my rest has been lifting heavy weights as of late because I can't do nothing because I'm just shaking. I can't think of anything else that rests a part of my body.
Yeah, that's what it is for me too. Like I have to do things that bring me back into my body. Right, it's a real thing.
But some people that may not resonate with them. Play for me. I love games. I love travel. I love pranks.
Okay, pranks.
People close to me. I love a good, little point. I really enjoy sharing my frolic. So, like with my mom, one of the things I do with her are portrait parties. So every now and then I'm like, okay, mommy, like I'll get a little outfit for her and I'll just take pictures of her, right? Or she'll take pictures of me, or take pictures of my family. Like just little things.
I like that. Portrait party. We're gonna do a portrait party.
I'm just letting you know now. We're gonna do us a portrait party.
Do a portrait party. You should.
I'll let you know. I'll tag you once I do it, so you know that this was inspired by you.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to your point. You're like, oh, we feel like we have to wait. Like, oh, I remember I was like, okay, when I make this amount of money, okay, when I do this, I'm gonna do this. Yep. And then you get on the vacation the whole time, you're beating yourself up. So you're telling yourself you have to earn the rest. And then when you get the rest, you're guilty for the rest.
Yes.
Yep.
So, that's the cycle.
But that's
the whole cycle.
Yes. That's the system of capitalism.
That you're supposed to work all the time. And if you think about it with slaves, your rest...
Enslaved
people.
Yes.
Get me right. With enslaved people, it was literally no one gave a shit about you getting
tired.
rest.
You weren't even a human.
No,
you weren't seen as a human.
You weren't seen as human. It was you need to be up by 4, out by 3:30. Yes, I understand that is not physically impossible to be up by 4 and out by 3:30, but that was literally
that's what it was.
The expectation that you are up before you need to be up and out before you actually supposed to be out. And you needed to work all day, whether you were in the sun or whether you were in the house or whether you were in Mass's bed, whatever it was, or in the barn. Literally just creating babies the entire time that were going to be snatched and stolen
then that
from
whole
you.
System has just been used to convince everybody else to be the same way.
Literally.
We think we're revolutionary, right? Like I think that's why I just can never consider myself a feminist. Like I'm just not, right? Like I just do not subscribe to the portion of it specifically about like the importance of work. Like I just feel like somebody came along and was just like, well, what if we can enslave all people?
It was for taxes.
What if we can convince them, for all of them to do this? No matter their color, no matter their gender, no matter anything. It's just like, how can we get everybody into this space so that the tiny 1% can have their imagination fulfilled?
It's a system of exploitation.
Yeah, it was for taxes. That's why they wanted women to work. I mean, there's what so did it look like? Than that. No, but it honestly, it started out being for taxes because you were only able to tax those who were working, which was the men. But then you needed even more money. So then you create, let's all be feminists. Where, no, we're strong women. Let the women work too. Bitch, we was already working as Black women. We hadn't stopped. We was already working.
Well, I don't want to jump into feminism because that's when my history hat is going to come on. Like, well, actually,
you could educated.
It's not even schooled. It depends on what women you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's important.
It's different sex.
Yeah, and we also have different experiences and relationships to labor. So whether it be Indigenous women, Black women, here. Like you said, we've always labored. And I would argue that a lot of women have labored in different ways. Absolutely. But in terms of in the U.S., what actually happened is when the quote-unquote men went off to war and there weren't people to do the labor. Yeah. So women and then children were pushed into do work because there weren't able bodies to do it. And then there were nuances in how it changed. But I think the core part, what's really important is what you're saying is like, it's by design. Like we've been taught that and taught, reinforced, and rewarded that our labor is not only tied with our survival, but it's tied with our worth.
Absolutely.
And that is the part
and they give you doggy treats.
And your identity.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what we like, oh, grind hard. You a hustler. Grind culture.
Sleep
like
when you dead.
Yeah, we romanticize it. We also encourage people and socialize people into it.
And then we get our rappers who like it or love it, it is what it is. We get them to come on board and say, to push the same toxic
and our singers
messages.
and all the things. It's not just the rappers now. It be everybody.
But it starts there though. In that, how do you get people to grab hold of something? When they say culture, you immediately think hip hop first, then you think pop. Then maybe some R&B, then maybe some pop, pop before R&B. But you think of music, because music permeates. It's the universal language. So if I can get those who you got everybody looking at, everybody coming to for what's hip, what's cool, what's whatever. Oh no, homie, we don't sleep. I sleep until I sleep when I'm dead or rest when I'm dead. Yeah. Nah. Oh, we don't close no eyes. Oh, I'm the hardest working motherfucker in the room. What?
I would also say yes. And we're culture creators in our home. Because I think about when we see a kid, we're like, what do you want to be when you grow up? We're socializing them into work. What? We're not asking, how do you want your brilliance to show up in the world? Ooh, we're not asking them that.
Oh my goodness.
What?
We are mirror images. I wrote a book called The Relationship Game.
You see?
No.
I wrote a book.
No, but
I love it.
In the book, I tell people, don't ask people what they do, because what you're doing is you're immediately assigning what type of value you should place on them. Ask them, how do they show up magically in the world?
How do you want your... But we do it at home. That's the point, right? We say okay, well, Saturday morning, why you in the bed sleeping? You ain't got no job?
Yep.
Think about all of the language that we socialize people in our house.
Especially in the Black community.
Yes. Yeah. And where do we get that from? Whose imagination did that come from? Yeah. Who does that benefit? It doesn't benefit ours.
But I think it's so common, and I don't even think we really mean to do it. I know we were talking about this off air, but it's so common to just dim your light, to kind of fit into these spaces and to kind of go along with, I'm sure there are people that they're so unaware of that programming that they're asking those questions and why they're asking those questions. And even if there's something like a tinge inside or something inside that's something doesn't feel right with this, you still are so used to kind of shrinking and just going with the flow and going with the group think and just trying to be as agreeable so that you don't stand out too much, where people are looking at you like, well, what's wrong with you? Or why are you asking me that stupid ass question? What the fuck that mean? There are people like that where they're just like, I don't know what that means. So I'm always, as someone that has struggled with my dimming of my light and trying to kind of figure out where you fit, because when you are shining bright, you do stand out. It does make people
attracts attention.
And
it burns
it's
people.
How do you...
And then it try to burn you back.
So it's how do you become bold and unapologetic enough to shine your light bright, regardless of how it makes people feel? How do you... Because it takes a certain kind of reprogramming to be no, this is what I think. This is how I'm going to move. This is the culture I'm going to create in my home and in my family, regardless of how it might look.
Yeah. Ooh. That's a juicy question.
Ain't it juicy?
It's so juicy.
Right.
For me, the first thing... I've struggled with this too. I want to name this. For folks who don't know me, I'm almost 6 feet tall. It's a lot, right? I have a lot of opinions. My voice usually sounds very assertive. I'm smart. I'm tall. I'm Black.
You're
I'm
beautiful.
A woman. I'm purr. All of that.
Big purr though.
Big purr.
All the things.
All of that. And that is experienced in different ways by different people.
Yes.
So the first thing I had to realize why I was shrinking is that shrinking has kept me safe. And for a lot of us, shrinking has kept us safe. It has kept us covered. It's kept us in a group. And for those of us, especially who have identities that have been intentionally marginalized, safety is important. We have to name that.
It's very important.
Right? So if you're in a job and you've been the only Black person in the job, you're going to most likely try to assimilate because that keeps you safe.
Yeah.
Because if not, you're a target, you're a threat. Yeah. Then you're damn, how am I going to feed my family? So first it's acknowledging the why behind it, right? Okay, I recognize that this was something that I had to do. And then it's okay, well, does this make me happy? Does this make me whole? Yeah. And I do a lot of reflection, an obscene amount of reflection and journaling. And I realized how much, every time I shrunk, the work that I had to do to get back to center
wasn't
worth the shrinking.
Exhausting.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yes.
So FIU, it took me 4 years of recovery time to come back to at least a little bit of what I was. I'm still trying to get back to what I was from some of the traumatic experiences I had there, right? So then you have to, for me, I wait for myself like, okay, I understand it kept me safe. I understand it made me more likable. I understand I didn't ruffle as many feathers, but are you happy? Are you whole? Look at all the shit that you had to do to try to get back to center. Is it worth that?
Yeah.
Is it worth it?
Yeah.
So I think it's an individual journey. And Absolutely. I know that a lot of black women, a lot of black women have been forced to shrink.
Yeah.
I will never forget when I became student body president, another black woman called me into her office and was like, okay, so now that you're this, you can't be wearing those bright nails. You can't be doing like this with your hair. We need you to look like this. I know you're all opinionated. You're always talking about black, black, black. We can't do this. You're student body president for all students. So we also, I think, is important for us to interrogate why we shrink, because if we don't, we start pushing and shrinking other people.
Oh,
that's what it really is. Because a lot of my biggest shrinking experiences have been at the hands of other black women because they haven't done their own self-awareness of their work.
And what if it's like this feeling of trying to keep you safe too?
No,
like
it can't be that. Absolutely.
Of like something, you know what I'm saying? Like I think some of it is rooted in like this fear that something's going to happen to you, or fear that you're going to experience what they experienced when they dared not to shrink.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
It's like, that, and it's how dare you?
Yes.
How dare you feel like you can?
It's
like
rejection.
You not gonna come up in here. I done had to shrink and sit here and shut up. You don't have to come in and sit here and shut up too.
It's all of that.
Oh my God, that is my entire childhood.
If people haven't done their work to understand. Again, we're living in someone else's imagination.
Yeah.
That imagination didn't include us.
At all.
No. Didn't include us as
especially
humans.
Not in these spaces.
And damn sure didn't include us whole.
Yeah.
Listen.
So come on.
Did you see how mad the people got about Lizzo playing a flute that they didn't even fucking know about? You didn't even know.
They were so mad. It was hilarious. I thought it was great. We love you, Lizzo. We love you.
They big mad about the Little Mermaid.
They big mad about everything. They mad about fantasy characters, child.
These bitches don't even exist.
There was a meme that was like, why y'all surprised the black mermaids after all the
African
enslaved people that jumped ship?
Yeah, like
it gotta be some black
not
mermaids.
even jump ship. The enslaved people that you also threw overboard because they were causing too much of a ruckus.
Yeah.
You ain't think none of them was gonna come back and learn to swim?
Yeah, and also, African traditional religions have had mermaids in them for millennia. Y'all ain't
I grew up hearing about hearing about mermaids. Like it was like dinner table conversation.
Like come on.
Like that was like, and that's not y'all calling it fantasy. Like that's some shit people really believe in. Like it's like, oh yeah, grandma has a comb from the mermaid on the beach. Like that's a real thing.
Absolutely.
So it's funny. Like when I saw the backlash, I was just like, I don't know why the mermaids haven't always been black. Actually,
and this is why we live in a world where people don't do their work. We live in a world where they don't have maybe the space, capacity, interest to reflect, and then we push our limited experience onto other people.
Ooh,
well, if you're being honest, and if you think about it, since when have they ever done their work? America is, I mean, no, but let's just keep it above. If you think about it.
Let's keep it above. Yeah.
Because, we like to be honest.
Bartender, we need another round.
Right. When have they ever done
When have they ever?
Ooh, that's the part.
The work has been stealing, killing, and
how
destroying.
many centuries did you get free labor?
Come on.
You did not have to do much. And so it's wild to me when you think about grind culture. It literally is another form of enslavement.
Yeah, it's capitalism. It's the same
It is
shit.
a whole other form of enslavement. It's just this time you choose to do it. It's by choice.
Oh, so you think it's your choice.
That's why I had to do the quotes. For those who listen and not watching this on YouTube, which you should be, I put in quotations. It is by choice.
It's not.
But if you think about it, those who had historically been in power in America, hell, honestly, all over the globe, they did the least amount of work.
Of actual work.
It was enslaving everybody else.
And then it's also like that is the premise. And then when whoever isn't working is lazy. Like
lazy.
I remember
but you ain't doing nothing.
Yeah. I remember especially like back in like as a kid, the 90s, early 2000s, there was like this idea going around that like Black people were lazy.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that?
I remember.
That was like a thing,
That was,
especially
absolutely.
on television
But it's
in
still,
the 2000s and the 90s.
When I tried
No, I
to
know it's
abroad,
still
like, people
there,
still-
but
yes,
I feel like it was
absolutely.
very prevalent in the narratives on television.
Yeah,
It was like
absolutely.
there was always like some lazy Black dude that
Yeah.
just didn't want to work,
Yes.
didn't want to do anything, and I was just like,
But think about where that came
How?
from. Where did that come from?
like what you just heard. Want some more?
Make sure you're subscribed for the full access behind the scenes community view on our Patreon. Or if you love Apple, you can also subscribe there. And you can do so by going to triggeredafpodcast.com. You can use the top banner, or you can go ahead and click those first two buttons to subscribe exactly where you want to.
Continue to share all of our podcasts with your friends, with your family members, and you can continue to watch just 30 minutes on YouTube now. So if you want the full episode, you better subscribe.
We will see you soon as a member of our tribe. We cannot wait to continue these conversations. Bye, Trigger Happy Fam.
Bye.